Yo, YouTube, what is up? Welcome back to the Radar for Rastin Studios.
What up, Marks?
Guys, Monday Night Raw just finished up. We have two takeaways from the show. It's a little bit better than last week's show, but that's not saying much because last week's show was pretty bad. So we had a couple things to get into. We got a new number one contender for Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship for next week's Monday Night Raw, which is Legends Night of Monday Night Raw. So we're going to have a big, show of just legends and Hall of Famers and all that stuff like that next week. So we do have one match set up for that. We also have WWE kind of backtracking on a storyline a little bit and a couple other things to get into. Alexa Bliss's Playground is here tonight too as well. So let's get into two takeaways from Monday Night Raw. Before we do, I remind you guys to drop a like on this video and previous videos, subscribe button if you're watching, and not subscribe to the channel, notification bells. You guys alerted when new videos are dropping. Also, follow me on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. All those social media platforms are the same handles. Follow me on all those. Then description section below, you're gonna get Amazon, Fight TV, Honor Club, highspots.com. Use those links, buy through those links, sign up to those links. Appreciate the support. Kicks back towards the channel. Let's get right into it. Two takeaways from Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw started off with your World Heavyweight Champion Drew McIntyre in the ring, talking about how he's going to stay champion after, going into 2021. So it would lead to Sheamus coming out, Keith Lee coming out. Obviously, they have a feud because Sheamus broke kick Keith Lee. He would do it again here too as well. Set up the match, to see who become number one contender to face Drew McIntyre next week for the championship. I thought it was a really good match. I think these guys work well together. They're both very physical. I always like Sheamus style in the ring, and obviously Keith Lee is awesome as well. Keith Lee gets the win here though, so he earns the shot next week at Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, good match. The right guy won. It would have been interesting to see Sheamus go in there just to do that friend versus friend thing, but I think that's going to come in more towards the Royal Rumble. I think that's what that fuse, like it's going there. It's definitely going there. Sheamus is going to betray him somehow or do something stupid to get Drew mad at him. Yeah. But definitely going to see Keith Lee getting a title shot one-on-one. It's on a Raw. It's on Legends Night. So they had to add something more to the Raw to make it mean more for Keith Lee, for this match to mean more for them. It's a main event. So I'm excited for Keith Lee. This is just the start of, what hopefully will be a long career in the main event picture and being a champion and doing all those things. So definitely a good way to start the show off. I love it. Start the show off the way they did because last week's Raw was just so abysmal, and this really just got me excited to see a pretty decent show.
Yeah, Keith Lee, excited for that matchup. It should be an awesome matchup. We saw it before, but Randy Orton didn't get involved in the last time we saw it, and they're obviously saving Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, most likely, probably for the Royal Rumble or something like that, because it seems like a Royal Rumble type matchup. So that's the way the show started off. You see, new number one contender. Next thing on the show, we had Miz coming out with John Morrison taking on Grand Metalik with Lindsay Dorado. They're playing the whole Miz thing where he unsuccessfully cashed in Money in the Bank at TLC, and he's obviously feeling the effects of that. He's losing all his confidence, but he was a little bit more aggressive here. He does lose the match to Metalik, so he continues to be depressed, but we'll see what happens with that later on. We'll actually get into right now. It's the first takeaway, and it is you see Miz and Morrison sitting in the back on some steps by the stadium, and then Adam Pearce, obviously Adam Pearce is going to show up eventually in the show. He does, and he hands Miz the Money in the Bank contract, and this is takeaway number one because you see them in the back celebrating Miz and Morrison because the fact that Morrison was the one that cashed in technically at TLC. Miz gets his Money in the Bank contract back, so he's Mr. Money in the Bank again. Hopefully it's taken a little bit more seriously this time. We could even see him cash it in at Royal Rumble, and there's a couple interesting things. Now he cannot lose this again because if he does, it's pretty much Miz is like broken. Completely stupid. Completely broken unless he cashes it in and Morrison's the ones that cost him it, so then you can continue a Miz and Morrison feud. But I guess it was the right call at this moment because what do you do with the Miz after the fact that he lost the briefcase, and then it's a little loophole that at least they tie the story together a little bit.
Yeah, this feels like they're just kind of going. They don't really have a plan. They're just kind of going as the days come by, the weeks go, and we're just like we're gonna come up with stuff as we go. This is what this felt like. It felt rushed and felt dumb at TLC. It didn't really help the match. It made the match worse, in my opinion. When we reviewed the show, I said the same thing. So this was a dumb segment. I felt just like in the contract, in the imaginary contract we just made up that. Of course, because Morrison was the one that cashed it in. It doesn't count. So it's just, I don't know. It's kind of cheap. It's kind of dumb. But it definitely at least gives a little more credentials to the Money in the Bank because they really lost it with the stupidity that they pulled at TLC. And it gives the Miz, more something to do, really, just to be more interested in the main event picture, have something to do. So let's see where this goes. If he's going to cash it in, he has to win it. Or it has to be something crazy has to happen because you can't just give it back to him and then just make something stupid again. Just it'd be pointless, completely waste of time.
Yeah, there has to be a lot going into the when he does, cash in again. There has to be a lot of hoopla, or he just wins it straight out. So there's got to be something going on there. But guys, that's takeaway number one. Miz, again, Mr. Money in the Bank, one more time for the Miz. We'll see what happens with him going forward with that. Next thing we show, we have Shayna Baszler going against Dana Brooke with Mandy Rose. Baszler would defeat Dana Brooke here, with some help from Nia Jax. So the feud continues to see who's going to face eventually Charlotte and Asuka later on, in the coming weeks going up to Royal Rumble. We would hear Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler both, confirm that they would be in the women's Royal Rumble match as well. So we'll get to see that. Next thing on the show, we had Alexa Bliss on the Alexa Bliss's Playground, which is not a Moment of Bliss anymore. It's just her with the swing set. She's in the ring.
Baby, because we didn't have enough of them.
She's inviting Randy Orton onto the show, but Randy Orton shows up in the Firefly Funhouse on the Titantron, starts destroying it and breaking some of the puppets in there and stuff like that. And then she eventually challenges him to a match in the ring later on for the main event. So yeah, that happened. It was an okay segment. I thought it was all right. It is what it is, but at least they're keeping the story alive with Alexa Bliss on TV. So
it's good to see her. I thought he was gonna set the Firefly Funhouse on fire. I thought that would have been pretty fun and something interesting. But I guess we got something interesting later on.
Yeah. Next thing on the show, we had AJ Styles going into Elias's dressing room while he's playing the guitar and with Omos, and he's obviously upset. And he challenges Elias to a match. So this is the match: AJ Styles versus Elias. I thought it was a good match. Elias got a lot of stuff in here, so that's good for him. Continuing to build him up little by little, but he does lose this match. Obviously, AJ Styles deserves to win this match. He's the bigger guy, but it's good to see Elias in the ring with AJ Styles. So he gets a little bit of a rub there, and then you have Riker as his muscle and then Omos as AJ Styles' muscle. So we'll see what goes forward with that. Hopefully they build up Elias into something important.
Because we got to walk with the lie, because that Jeff Hardy feud was weird and pointless.
Yeah, weird and pointless. Next thing on the show, we had Mustafa Ali going against Ricochet, because Ricochet continues to get beat by every single member of Retribution. So Ali does get the win here. He wins by submission, and he tries to get Ricochet to join. Ricochet kind of teases that he would, but then he says no, and then he just beat his ass. So that's pretty much all. Yeah, and then he runs off. So that's pretty much all there is there. We'll see what continues. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen with this, because it's kind of a weird feud. But again, if Ricochet can find his voice on the mic, he could be a tremendous underdog babyface.
No, of course, but I just think it makes more sense for him to join the crew instead of just getting beat by them on a weekly basis and just jobbing onto them. The group sucks, and maybe he'll add something to it. So I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta do the same thing they did with Cedric Alexander when he joined the Hurt Business. Helps him out, helps him flourish, helps him kind of get some confidence in.
It all helps the group out.
It does.
They all help each other, because right now it's a pointless mess.
Yeah, it's really bad. Next thing on the show, Charlotte Flair going with Asuka going against Nia Jax with Shayna Baszler. The match was what it was. Charlotte wins because she has the figure 4 on Nia Jax, and here comes Shayna Baszler to put the sleeper on Charlotte, so she wins by disqualification. So I assume the most likely matchup is Jax, Baszler versus Asuka and Charlotte, but I am interested to see that those SmackDown tag teams like Bianca and Sasha Banks going against them. That's a really good tag team. Also, Carmella and Bayley is another good tag team. So I'm more interested in the SmackDown tag team that we saw on Friday Night SmackDown than the ones on Raw. But we'll see what goes forward. Next thing on the show, we had the Hurt Business taking on the New Day and the Hardy Bros. That's the new thing, the Hardy Bros.
That's a team.
Screw it, it's a tag team. We like it. I mean, they need more tag teams on the show, especially on Raw. So good stuff here. Hurt Business, let's get the win. But we'll see how it goes forward. So we still have that feud going. Maybe this ends up with the New Day going against the Hardy Bros to see who takes on Hurt Business, Alexander and Benjamin for those Raw tag team titles. That'll be the interesting thing about it. But let's get to the main event. Alexa Bliss challenges Randy Orton to burn her alive. This is what she asked for. She brings out a big present, opens it up. It's a gas canister. She wants to get burned alive. She pours all the gasoline on herself. And guys, this is takeaway number 2. In the gasoline, it cuts to black. And you see Randy Orton holding the lip match, and then it goes off air. So we assume that he didn't burn her. But yeah,
murder.
Yeah,
it was smart. If you're gonna murder, don't murder on live TV. That way, you won't get arrested and sent to prison for the rest of your life.
Because
or get the chamber.
Because nobody actually knows what happens after the fact that he likes this match because of those cut off. But I thought the segment was okay. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I think it should have just been something different rather than just burn me and then it cuts to black. So, because what comes of this afterwards? So next week, what do you do?
Exactly.
Do you find out if you burned her? Does it just kind of just say oh no, she just shows up and that's it? It's like you paint yourself into a corner because you didn't have an actual outcome to it. So you can only guess what happens, and then you don't have footage of it happening. So what the hell are you gonna do? Honestly, if you paint yourself into a corner by going this road.
the fans are from the corner, and the fact that you already kind of you're ruining your story because we know that he's not going to set her on fire, and if he does, that's murder. And it's just like you're a TV show, but you're not a scripted TV show like a sitcom. That's not you. You can't. You're supposed to bring yourself as a sport, and we're supposed to sit here and believe that you're gonna set this poor woman on fire in the middle of TV, and like you're just gonna get away with it, like, oh, he did it, and he's sadistic and he's crazy. No, he's a murderer, and we just saw him set somebody on fire, which is like a terrible way to kill anyone. It's one of the worst ways to murder someone. So I don't know. Just to start off the whole thing, you knew he was never gonna do it. He didn't do it, and I guess we'll have some weird segment next week. I don't know. It just felt. It works with the Fiend because he's like Taker, he's supernatural, and I guess we're learning that Alexa is supernatural, but she's not the Fiend, so it doesn't make much of any sense, and it was kind of dumb. It didn't hit for me. I didn't really enjoy it. I thought the segment before was a little better. This was just they could have gone in a different direction instead of like her pouring gas on herself and like I don't know. Maybe it was more symbolic, but I don't know. It was just it was a miss for me. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't all that great. I didn't like it. I just like that like you don't have the finality to it. It just cuts to black, so you can't. What the hell do you do with it afterwards? It kind of just makes no sense what you do with this situation afterwards.
And maybe they'll surprise us next week and it's something actually pretty good. I doubt it, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is why we have to watch, right? They left us fucking hanger moment just sitting there. It's almost like Glenn in The Walking Dead before he got his head chopped off at the end of season finale. It's kind of like that. We're just they're leaving us there waiting for something, but it's not going to pay off.
I don't think it's going to pay off that well. Hopefully they don't bring the Fiend back next week or something like that. Maybe they just stay away from it. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. That's takeaway number 2, guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. That's the end of Monday Night Raw. Halfway decent show, better than last week's, but that's not saying much. Next week is the first Monday Night Raw of 2021, Legends Night. We'll get into that when that happens. Let's see what happens this upcoming Wednesday on the both shows, so we'll get to that when that happens. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff on this video and on the channel. Appreciate you guys for watching. My friends, work, bro, guys, good job.
R.I.P. Brody Lee.